Rojak Borak episode 4 is here. We're talking about appreciating car values. Are they real? Are they fake? We got a special guest today, Greg from the Mazda Drive Group. He's a co founder. He also does a lot of content with his own phone camera, with his own car, and basically, they do some pretty awesome stuff. You should check them out on YouTube and on social media. I will definitely put up all the links in the video so that people can check it out on their own later on. But today we also have Jeremy, and we also have Katie, and we also have me. So this was funny because somebody posted it up in the Rojak Petrolheads WhatsApp group, and it was a picture of Paul Walker and Vin Diesel from Fast and Furious One sitting in an MK4 Supra that was orange, and they're talking to the one of the producers of the film in the film, and he was in his black 355 Ferrari, and the caption is, "How much does one of those retail for?" Which the response is more than you can afford Supra MK4 because Japanese cars or Japanese sports cars in particular have really come up in value, and it's to the point that I never thought this would ever happen. I never thought I would ever see things like 1993 Mazda RX-7 goes for 150K. I'm like, what? Like, how? So I don't even know how to address the topic about appreciating value, and that's why Greg is here. Greg has definitely got way more automotive experience selling cars and all that kind of stuff compared to the rest of us. Because I just an advertising guy. Katie, I actually don't even know what Katie does. but, but
Back then was a consulting, but yeah.
okay, great. So I'm gonna let the people with the heavy number brains take on this topic conversation because I think we need to iron out. Well, how do we even determine appreciating value, guys?
Alright.
Take it away.
Appreciate value. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Brett. Yeah.
Okay, from my experience, I was head of leasing for my motor for about 2 years, and I was doing automotive leasing in total for about 3 or 4 years. And my first job was actually doing financial leasing, so leasing has been in my career path all this while. So, talking about values, car values, appreciating. From a commercial perspective, any brand new car, passenger cars, the moment it goes out of the showroom, you lose 40%. Depreciates that fast. Then subsequent years, normal accounting policy will be probably 5 years. They'll write off the asset value of the car within 5 years or 7 years. So every year from the first year, okay, 40% you lose value. Then subsequent years, 20%, 25%, 10%, and so on and so forth until there's zero book value in your accounts. So from a commercial perspective, what's happening now in the JDM scene is just mind-boggling because,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, cars are depreciating assets for normal passenger cars. Collectibles and classic cars and those hypercar realm prices are a totally different story altogether. So it's interesting to see 5 years ago, Supra Skylines are tapping into that supercar collectible category of pricing. And that is just something even the whole world is just looking at it and going like, wow, what's going on? Like 2015, 5 years ago, you start seeing some Supras appear out of nowhere, barn find Supras with low mileage, poop, 100K USD, starting from there, like in ringgit. Then it just kept on climbing until today. So, and there's still barn finds popping up here and there in the US until today. So it's crazy because there are people out there just keeping these cars to hold value when this bubble, starts to grow big.
Yeah, I remember seeing that
So I know.
the one DC2 Integra in the states that was had 100,000 miles on the clock,
Yeah.
championship white, sealed up in a wood barn kind of thing with a like it was literally you have to break the wall down to get to their car,
Yeah.
and I was just like, but it's an Integra. You don't do that. You drive the Integra. You don't keep. I mean, I don't get it. Like, I just don't. I just don't get it. It's not because I always think Japanese cars are econo boxes, but I felt like that era of Japanese car was cars built to drive, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And it's
exactly.
not built to be in a museum. I mean,
I
we
think,
have that at Nismo, we have that at
yeah,
Mugen in Honda in Japan, whatever. But is there a little bit of this pop culture phenomenon that's driving the values higher?
it's a mix. I think car culture, pop culture, the death of Paul Walker, and the series of Fast and
Oh,
Furious. Yeah, so when you combine all these factors together, it just creates this massive bubble that when we see now, we go like, wow, uh, more than half a million ringgit, 1998 BNR 34. You know, that sort of price into today's world is nuts, man. 600K for BNR 34.
I don't
So,
even know whether they were that expensive to begin with when they were brought
not
into
really. Like,
Malaysia.
if you had a grey import back in 98 for BNR 34, Skyline GTR, I think you're only paying like what, 250K ringgit? Or 300K the most at
Mad.
most? Yeah.
Now it's like 100% more.
Ah,
More than
way
hundred
more.
percent, right?
Price
Yeah.
of the car. It's crazy and more, and it's not going cheaper. It's just going keep going up and up and up. It's just
Yeah.
crazy. And then I like there's this like I did something quite I felt stupid today because back then in Australia my friend we had an S15. So
Oh.
I was helping him to sell at
Mm-hmm.
the time when he's moving back to Malaysia.
Mm.
So I sold it for I think 10,000 Aussie, which is 30 plus thousand Malaysia ringgit.
Yeah. Holy
And,
shit.
and when now I'm looking at the price of an S50 is 150. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm selling 5 times lower than the price, which is like 5 years ago, 5 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And I felt like what how the hell that S15 can go on this price? Because to me, S15 is a car that you buy and you whack down the drift track or you whack down
Sideways.
the road.
They still remain though because the S15 compared to all the same generation JDM cars is the slowest to appreciate, and mainly
Yeah.
because back then, right, if you own an S15 and you don't drift, you don't have the skills, you're not worthy to own that car. That was the stigma associated with rear-wheel drive S14, S15,
Yeah.
S13s, and the RX-7s. But RX-7 has shot up in value because of Fast and Furious and all the other pop
Yeah,
culture. S15 it still has that stigma of being a pure drifter's car, so not many
Hmm.
people are willing to have an S15 but only drive it to the tetare and chill drive and not really push the car, and people, hey, you can't even drive a rear-wheel drive S15, then you shouldn't own it. That stigma is still there. I feel
Yeah.
this is my opinion.
but
I
nowadays it's getting if somebody is getting like collecting right now, like I've seen people on Instagram feeds and stuff like that. They are buying S15 to collect, and I was like, this
It's
is
not,
just
yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, hmm.
Are they? Do you think they are collecting to, I mean, to sell it at a higher price, and or the people at the top are, or people with like some money, trying to control the price, or
No,
because
I
I
think they're
know.
flipping it. They're definitely trying to flip it for profit, and because of the trend of the Supra and Skyline having that bubble right now,
Mhm.
every other JDM is trying to follow the same trend.
Yeah.
GTO, 300 ZX, Z32, S14s, S15s, even the A86. I
Yeah.
saw one at
Oh.
90K. Hachiroku selling for 90K. A 1986 car selling for 90K now. It's ridiculous. Man. Yeah. So it's
And
what
a trend of like people trying to flip cars for profit.
yeah, I guess
I
that it's like that though, right? Like it's just like property, right? Like once a certain area went up, everyone's like, oh, the surrounding area, if it gets developed, it's gonna go up, it's gonna go up, it's gonna go up. And I felt like that is sort of it's different, right? Because for cars, it's like just because you belong to a certain era doesn't mean your car will or should appreciate. And what I wanted to say was that a lot of this, like, oh, my car's a Nissan, what? It's not a Skyline, but it should go up in price because it's part of that sports car heritage. It's got Nismo on the car. I don't get it. Like that's why I think one of the first questions we were trying to answer is like, what determines that appreciating value? Like, I guess we could definitely attribute pop culture, right? So that's number one, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
like Shelby GT 500 Ford Mustang,
ooh,
yeah,
right? That is
ooh,
always going to go up in price because two things, right? It's a Shelby, it's a
yeah.
GT, and it's
Yes,
got 500. Right?
yeah,
Like gone in 60 seconds. Eleanor, people were
yeah. That is.
clamoring to make the
Yeah,
replica, right?
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I guess,
The Ford GT40 MK3, those
mm,
collectibles are that is what I feel an investment. Like the Ford GT40 MK3, Ferrari GTO,
yeah,
all the rare cars, right? Even the Jaguar XJ220, that is another
oh,
appreciating collectible. Yeah. So
but
okay, that
yeah,
realm of car buying, those people are buying them to flip, but it's like an investment. They
yep,
don't crash a car, they don't work car. They keep it in prime condition. They've got a whole museum for the whole collection. Look at what's a local collector's name? The one with the JP Museo.
Yeah,
JP Chin, yeah. JP Chin has his
division.
humongous collection. Yeah. So that one is not just
okay.
his own
We should go
collection.
to his house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like an investment. Those are his assets because he's buying all the rare ones. like the other Malaysian billionaire, what's his name, Michael Look. He's also buying all the
Yeah.
really rare cars. He is one of the owners of Apollo Intensa Emozione, which
What
is
is
uh,
that?
Oh,
yeah, you Google it. It's a crazy car. It's made by HWA. It's
Okay.
the successor to the Apollo Gumpert in a way. They call it like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
IE,
okay.
Apa IE, right? Is it?
yeah.
Yeah,
Apollo
yeah.
Intensa Emozione. So it's a car which is made by HWA. The owner of the brand bought it from Apollo when it went bankrupt. I think he's from Hong Kong or someplace. So Michael Loeb, one of the famous Malaysian car collectors, he got one unit. His unit is number two, and there are only 10 in the world. And the
Man,
prices start from USD 10 million.
Oh
fuck
my
Prices
me,
god.
man.
start from USD 10 million, which is crazy. I think it's
This
packed up
is
to about like 15 or 20 million USD.
this is like car Birkins, man. Like, okay, so
Insane, yeah. So that
we.
realm is okay. That is
Mm-hmm.
appreciating car
Yep.
values. But like I said, JDM, I don't know how we managed to enter into that sort of that trend of
But it can't just be pop culture alone, right? That would be hilarious if it was just based off movies, like movies and
uh,
drag racing in Houston. It can't just be that, right?
yeah, it's also the guys who are speculating in the market, the flippers. They are buying it. Those with
Interesting.
cash, they're
Yep.
manipulating the market so that they'll make more cash in the end. So
So
these guys are
yeah.
buying it at what probably they haggle down to like a Supra for maybe 100K. Then they're posting it up for 300K later on. But they're keeping it for like 1 2 years, and they keep on buying different models here and there to make it
Okay, that
scarce.
makes sense.
Yeah, so you have these people in the market, disrupting the prices as well.
Okay, so I guess we can definitely identify two key areas, right? What is the pop cultural value of the car? And the other is definitely speculators, right? People who are out there
Yeah.
who can afford to buy and keep, and therefore limiting the access to these cars, right? Like, I think that's definitely the other thing in Malaysia, right? It's like,
And the
generally
Muda,
speaking,
the
yeah,
Muda racing,
we
the
just
Borak.
don't have enough access to sports cars here, right? Like, everything that comes in is like
Yeah.
in literally under the hundreds, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think the last sports car, okay,
Mm.
brought in officially was FD2R, right? 180 of them brought in 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah, and also the Evo 10 by Mitsubishi Motors Malaysia. They had
They
that.
brought it
Yeah.
in.
That's officially
Yeah.
300K.
Where was? Oh, man, if I had known, oh my
Yeah.
god.
So with that, you see, right? Evo 3 is Evo 10 is about 300K. Right now, I think in the market it's 180K.
I think 200
That's
plus if you
selling
get a 200
200 or
2015
less.
one.
More.
But it's got
Yeah.
okay.
2015 one, yeah, you can get a higher price. Is at a high price.
I want to just be really controversial right now and say I'm sorry, but 4B11T engines out of a Dodge Neon SRT4 is just not the same as a 4G63. I just can't imagine an Evo 10 going up in price with the SSD gear. I can't do it. I can't do it. My mind just doesn't work like that.
Well, they can just swap them. You know, Evo 10 chassis
uh,
and 4G63T.
I think it's because I think okay, so I think it's because you got the knowledge of what's going on with the car, but mostly people are like following the pop culture. It's like, oh, it's still an Evo, and it's a final edition Evo. I'm just gonna pay because somebody literally listed the price of 400 over K of an Evo 10 on Muda, and you can actually go look
Yeah.
it up.
That's the final
Yes,
edition
I
white
think
color one, right?
Oh wait,
I'm
okay.
not sure, but
NASA
yeah, I
brought
think
in one unit of that final edition. I still remember seeing it at my office the other day. So that final edition was going for 269K, 2015 Evo 10 final edition. So
Jeez
somebody bought it from NASA
Louise.
and now it's flipping it for double the price. And that's the
yeah,
thing with
it's
Malaysian culture here. No? They like to goreng the price on Muda, and all the used car dealers are using that as a reference point.
I know.
Just
Oh,
so that is another thing which is affecting the prices here. It's just crazy. People just accept whatever Muda says as the price as canon. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
it is. It is.
I think the best way to really define how we say appreciating is that because like right now you see if you are talking about the normal Evo 10, it comes out 300,000 from Mitsubishi Motors Malaysia. But when now they are selling second use unit about 180 to 200,000. But without thinking of the people that are having the final edition and trying to goreng the price two times the price, we just
Mm,
disregard that for now.
mm.
But it's more on like uh why we say appreciating value. I think if we draw a line, it's about with the capital gain of uh appreciating, I mean, the capital gain of relative to purchase price of the car that we are
Yep.
paying. So
Mm,
in a way that, let's say, back then those people who bought RX-7 for 40 to 60K,
Yeah.
and right now they are selling 180K. So do we define that as appreciating? Because if we say appreciating is depreciating is, most of the cars are depreciating.
Yeah.
It's
always,
so
yeah.
where does the appreciating comes in?
Mm,
I
So
saw
I
I saw
think
one term on YouTube on that term. They term it as if the car value exceeds its original retail price back in the day, then it's appreciating. So that is one sort of like benchmark you can use. Let's say
mm.
RX-7 brand new by second carriage or whatever back then was 180K, and now it's selling for 200K. So yes, it has appreciated based on the retail price back in the day. If it's based on the used price 10 years ago, it probably hasn't appreciated that much. I guess. I mean, like
10 years ago wasn't that expensive.
yeah. But if you take it from the retail price of back in 98 or 97, 180K, now it's still selling 180K or 200K or more, then you can really see that
Yeah.
appreciation.
So I guess it can be said that, like, yes, while most cars have a depreciating value,
Yeah.
all
there are
cars
just some cars that, given enough time, will appreciate in value, right? Like, but one thing
Yes.
that I did notice was that, like, for FD2Rs are not coming down in price. They hit a low point, which was like a
Yeah.
100,000 ringgit, and suddenly just boom, right back up. It's like DC5s has stabilized at under like 90, 80, 90 around there, right?
Uh, One of our buddies just sold his FD2R for 135K, bro.
what?
Uh, the shit, the one that
Yeah.
we went up with this with
Yeah.
the Tokyo
K24.
Master, right?
Yes, K24 guy. So and his price is considered the lower end.
135.
The guy who's buying it wants to resell it. So his car will be like go at 135K, and the guy who's going to resell it back is going to probably ask for 150 in the next 1 2 years maybe.
My
So these are what people
goodness.
doing. They're buying it at that price
Yeah.
and they keep it and jack up the price a bit more either via muda or by not making it available in the market.
I want to ask something. Like, in the States, in Canada, like when I used to live there, there was this thing called the Kelly Blue Book. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
the Kelly Blue Book determines how much your car is worth. And it I don't know whether it's just one dude named Kelly sitting there going, I don't like this car, so you get fined. Here's 6,000 US dollars for your piece of trash like Pontiac, I don't know what, but like, do we need one in Malaysia? Do we need some sort of regulatory board to come in and say, like, hey, you know what? Like, your car is worth this much value, to basically give everybody a baseline. But I feel like, on the same coin, right?
Mm.
The flip side of that is no one will give a shit. They will just sell at what they see fit as a price.
I don't think nobody will bother about that Karen saying, "Hey, I'm gonna put your BNR 34 for 200K. It's not worth 500K." Nobody will give a shit about that Karen saying anything
It's
about
true
that,
lah.
right?
But I
But
tell you,
it wouldn't work here because we have AP recon car dealers.
yeah.
Another factor.
So I guess
I remember
it's
seeing like the Ford Focus RS.
yeah.
It came in with via one recon car dealer, and he put up the price at 310K. Then it went down to 290K, and now it's 265K. So the
Whoa.
prices vary a lot among recon car dealers. So you can imagine if you can cut the prices down more, he actually got a car from the UK at a much lower price. So this
Hmm.
is another party affecting prices here, the recon car dealers. So
Sorry,
you
I'm still stuck on 265K. I'm like, my mind is like 265.
especially for a 3-year-old Focus RS, it's a
Yeah,
2017 model. Then they put that 2017/2019 or 2020 new car.
man.
But
Okay.
Registered,
yeah,
registered, yeah.
registered.
But
Yeah,
I'm not sure whether this is true or not. But
Hmm.
I mean, let me know what your thoughts is, because I find that uh, our Malaysian market to determine how much a car is very weird and unique in a way. See, like the one that you see on the BNR 34 for on UK, it's selling about 80,000, right? So
yeah.
let's say we do all everything that convert, bring it back to Malaysia. It's no, about 130K. I think you, the one that you send on photos on WhatsApp. So I
Uh-huh.
think if you bring it in, it's about 1.3 million.
I think the one I shared was a very mint condition
Yeah,
R34K, 179,000 pounds sterling. That's 1.1 million ringgit.
Yeah, 1.7. Yeah, it's about
Yeah.
1.5.
But it's
1.5.
proper,
Yeah.
proper min unit where you've got a full record history, service manuals, everything, proper mileage, nothing tempered on the odometer, unlike here. So
Mm.
those are genuine prices for collector's car. But if you find the older, more beat up R34s, right, they're probably going for like what, 50,000 pounds or like 60, high mileage ones. Yeah.
But it's still a lot of money.
Still a lot of
And
money, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I find that the thing about here Malaysia is that they don't follow their market. They don't follow any market in the world. Our realm is just in our own world in
Yeah.
a
Right.
way that, like, let's say you have 180 units, 2 to 3 units of FD2R back then it was brought
Mm.
in. So let's say out of that 180 units, two of them crash, the price goes up. So it's really solely depending on supply and demand. Is it really true?
Also the
Well,
seller lah. They also
yeah.
put on here like, oh, I feel like, oh, someone I saw this person selling his for 200,000, and it's like, but mine, you
I
know,
know what I got. I know what I got.
yeah, I don't smoke, and mine is faster than his car, so here's an extra 50K. I want 200,000. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I think the new regulation where you can't import cars younger than 35 years old, which happened, I think, a few years back,
mm,
that impacted the prices here greatly because I was in contact with one recon car dealer, Sakan Auto. They actually had a few units of NSX, BNR 32s, and Z32s at a very decent price. Then when the government announced there's no more imports allowed for cars below 35 years of age, poop, they're like out of business. They have to change their models like Recon Alphas and whatnot, and cars not more than 5 years old.
oh
So
my
that
god,
policy change affected the prices here, and that's when people started.
throwing
That
price
plus
lah.
pop culture plus Paul Walker diet, all these factors combined, boom, you get this massive bubble you see right now.
That's a great insight. I had no
Yeah,
idea that.
yeah, it's fairly recent. I
Yeah,
think 5 years ago,
that's
5 6 years ago.
crazy. That could be definitely the genesis point of all these ridiculous pricing lah. You know.
Because back then I was hunting around for another sports car for my GTO, Ichi, 90 GTM. It's like, okay, check out the price. And then the next year, when the policy happened, boom, oh, 180K for a Z32. What happened? Like, oh, because it's from Japan, blah, blah, and we can't import this anymore, so we have to let this go at a very special price and all that stuff. Lah. Sorry, not
Special
Z32,
price.
NSX. It was an NSX manual, NSX NE1 that time, yeah.
Jeez,
Wow. Now
that's cr-
at 21, yeah, it's about
that's
500.
crazy.
Yeah, now I think it's about even an
So
auto NSX is 300K. I saw
yeah,
this
Yeah.
yeah.
automatic NSX 300K. Wow.
It's so funny that like a car that barely sold 20 units a year worldwide is become so damn rare and popular after its production run, you know?
Yeah, that's why.
It's just like, wow, what were we doing, man?
Imagine
Like,
even the fact that it had connections with Ayrton Senna didn't
yeah.
play a factor in this market. It's because of the Skyline and Supra here zooming up in prices. Fast and Furious, Paul Walker died. Then suddenly it had the effect on all the other JDMs. As NSX came in third after the Supra and Skyline. So yeah, our market is so unique. Man. It's just unique.
That's crazy.
Surprisingly, even R35 is actually increasing prices.
That
Yeah,
or I feel like they haven't fallen below a certain threshold, right? Like, y-
plateaued at some point.
yeah, like 08, 09 GTR still go for 200 something. I'm like, damn, man, that you can't
There
even
was
get
this
a,
time I saw, yeah,
you
there was
can
this time
barely
I
get a
saw.
loan for that now if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the last time I saw the lowest price was 180,000, something like that, and then it just went up. And then after that, there was the 2013 unit, because 2013 units are the ones that without the faulty gearbox, without the I
Yeah,
mean full gearbox,
yeah,
and people. There's one guy who bought it for 300 over thousand, and right now it's about 400 over thousand to 500,
yeah. That's why.
and it's matching the prices coming in from 2017. It's just where does this come from? Like I'm buying a 2013 car with the same price as a 2017. Why not I just get the 2017?
You might as well buy like a used Porsche.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Used BMW.
yeah. Actually, that's the thing that kind of, okay, it's not the same thing, but I'm gonna bring up a topic that I get it. Like, okay, people can't get a 33, a 32, or a 34 GTR, but they really want something from that era. The immediate knock-on effect is to maybe search for a S15, maybe, and then S15 prices go up because there's just not enough of them around. But then what I see, which is I find really irritating, it's not that I hate the GTT. It is just that it is not a GTR. Okay, like it is GTR light. You know what I mean? Like you can make it as fast, right? It doesn't have the four-wheel drive. You can go in if you really wanted to do it. You can go and get the gearbox. You can go get all the running gear. You can make the Tesla work on a GTT.
Yeah.
It is just not going to be the same. But then now even GTT owners are going, like,
You know why?
check
Because
this price.
in Thailand, they're doing full, I think 100% conversions of GTTs to GTRs. That means everything internally. They strip out the whole GTT to convert it from the chassis to a GTR. And they're doing it in Thailand because you can't import R34 GTRs to Thailand anymore.
Yep.
So that's the next best option. So they've got specialist shops in Thailand doing exactly that. So they have like real GTRs which were birthed from GTTs. It's just nuts.
My
I saw
goodness.
the video on it. It's just crazy. The amount
Yeah.
of detail, the amount of work done on the chassis and everything. From the performance parts, chassis. What else? The tuning, everything. It's a GTR.
Yeah, you
Just that.
also need to, if you want the wide arches in the rear, you'd have to make that happen too.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They do it complete. It's nuts. I think you have to spend about at least 150,000 ringgit just for the conversion, and the donor car is your own source. And after the conversion, then you have to do tunings and whatever and aftermarket parts. So I think all in all, maybe 200k ringgit.
Do you
For
guys feel like, okay, we all grew up watching a little bit of Discovery Channel, and then they always have those like resto mod shows where they'll take like
yeah,
Oh
a
yeah,
Pontiac something and turn it into a Super B. They'll take something else and turn it into something else. I guess that's a little bit of that, right? It's like taking a GTT, not as desirable as a GTR, but
yeah,
making a GTR and then making it desirable.
yeah.
I guess there's a bit of that going on, right?
But mainly for them, it's the scarcity of the GTR since they cannot import
Yeah.
the GTR anymore. Right? So they find the most viable option, find GTT locally, convert it.
I wanna ask.
Yeah.
I know it's probably a definite no for you, Greg, like to get a 34 GTT convert GTR. But what about the rest? Jeremy, would you take one?
Not really. I don't think so as well.
If the price was reasonable, let's say price is reasonable, you got an extra quarter million lying around somewhere, and it's like, hey, do you want to convert a GTT into GTR? 250K, would you take it?
Well, yeah. If let's say the price difference is well a really big margin, then yeah, I would consider it. With
KT?
the money lying around.
actually it depends though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm born in the mindset of doing things without losing money. I mean, which comes across why do I buy the car that I buy? It's appreciating. I mean, I'm gaining in capital relative to the price that I purchased,
Mm.
and so in a way that let's say right now in the future, I mean in future, the R34 is gonna go up in like what 800,000, and naturally the GTT will increase in price. So and then you bought a GTT for what? Like right now you buy it for about 180,000, 150,000, I think.
I have
And then
no
after
idea.
you put another 250,000 to mod it, it's about 300,000, right? So
Yeah.
when GTR hit the price of 800,000, people will naturally go for GTT. But if they get to know that the GTT is fully converted to GTR, and they'll feel like, oh, maybe it's a bargain in price, so why not buying it? And
Mm.
that comes into play in mind that okay, if I'm spending 250,000 and then plus 150,000, 300,000, I end up selling the car for 400,000 and I gain back everything. I was like, why not?
That's
I
a
I
very mathematical answer, bro.
I get the joy of enjoying the car within the time period when I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
turned into a GTR
Yeah.
and I drive it and I work it lah, whatever it is, and I get to enjoy that part, and I still get to enjoy the bonus of getting back 100,000 extra
Mm.
Yeah.
for doing all these things, and to me it was like, why not doing it. Like
Yeah.
if I'm able to enjoy the car, so and somebody kind of told me this before, if you're actually if the right price comes in for your car, and people wanted to buy it for the price that like you think that it's way more beneficial for you, like it was like, why not just sell it off, like this
Mm.
thing, I mean, how much emotion that you can pour into a car,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
True.
know at the
I,
end of the day it still benefit for you, and then when
Yeah.
when that car is gone, you get to get the money to go on to another project that you can
yeah.
actually look forward to all the time.
That's why I'm holding on to my NPS because I see the prices are staying at a certain level. So it might just stay that way for the next few years, right? So by the time I sell it off, I'm pure profit.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But not
Okay.
taking. But are we taking into account that we are taking care of the car while we are?
Well, I
It's
mean
very good that
the
you do that.
that's the assumption like, that you're not throwing it
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
dustbin, like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Let's say
Okay.
if you kept the GTT stock and pure, there might be a market for another bunch of collectors who don't want a GTR, but they want a Nissan Skyline. You know, when the ICE engine becomes obsolete or like, it becomes real
Mm,
collectors, right? Having a stock GTT might be nice. So that's another way of looking at it. Having everything stock, not claiming it's GTR, but a pure GTT, last of its kind, and last rear-wheel drive Skyline. No?
yeah.
Which comes
Maybe.
to my mind that I might not sell my car because of the V8.
I think you've been like having this battle internally with yourself for
Yes, it's
several
always on
weeks
the
now.
fence. Should I sell it? Should I not? Should I sell it? Should I not?
Yeah,
Just keep it, man. Like, keep it
yeah,
until you're done with it. Until you know you're done with it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, I didn't want to sell my Scooby, but I knew I was done with it when I was done with it. Like, I was like, this is it. That was the last straw. I'm done. Someone take it.
Yeah, same like my GTO, man. Like when I sold it
Yeah.
off, no regrets. Just I even filmed the process of the guy, my
Driving
friend,
away.
driving it away, and he drove it from my place to Johor in about 3 hours plus, no issues, nothing.
Damn. Nice.
And he could take a picture of the speedometer at 180, 3000 RPM while driving. I was like, dude, you're nuts, man. You're supposed to like driving, and you're like, oh, not bad. This car can go this fast, very easy. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
but no regrets. Yeah.
So I guess a lot of like I guess the people who are actually paying these prices for the cars, right? There's definitely they're being driven by some factor of emotional baggage as well, right? Like some of them are not just like the guys who are selling on are definitely maybe collectors who are speculating the price. So like the recent one, somebody sold 580K, right? BNR 34,
560.
560K.
Okay.
So the list price was 600,000, right? Or no,
From 590. It was
590.
590
Yeah.
one day. The next day, sold for
So
560. I was like,
Oh
so
yeah, one day, one day.
one day,
like
man.
it couldn't be that the guy buying the car is also another speculator because that just doesn't make sense. You already bought high. How much higher do you think you can sell it for?
Yeah.
So it sounds to me that there's people out there who have a real significant emotional attachment to these cars,
Yeah.
and they are going, you know what? I didn't like. It's just like all these toys on the thing. My mom never got these for me, but I went and bought them when I
Yeah.
got the money. When I started earning my own money, I bought them. You know what I mean? So I guess it's a little bit of that, right? It's like, oh, I don't care if the reprint costs like triple what it used to cost. I'm gonna go get it.
Yeah. I mean, some of them are buying it for the missed young adulthood.
Yeah,
They couldn't
like
afford it back then, but now they have the money. Like, okay, I finally get to have my Shutoku racing machine from the Japanese movies back in the day. Finally, my R34. I think most of them are like that. They're waiting for
yeah.
that time to for somebody to sell.
I think like for me, when I bought my DC2 in 2009, I
Oh,
think
yeah, me too. Oh, I didn't know that.
it
Shit.
got stolen out of my company car park in opposite what was it called? It's opposite Toyota in Digital Mall area.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. 32 square, is it?
Y- Yeah, I think it's called 32 Square. So it was stolen right out of the basement car park there, and I was devastated. It was just one of those things. I was like, I still really like this car. I waited so long because when I was 19 years old, 20 years old, and it just sort of started making the Type R models, and it started getting popular, and I was like, I really wanted to have one,
Yeah.
and it took me so long to get one.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It cost me so much money to get one. I was like, I was so happy when I had it, and then when it was stolen, I was like, I don't even know how to feel anymore. You know what I mean? Like your soul is crushed. You know what I mean?
You had it for how long before it got stolen? Like, for how many years?
Stolen in 2012, so about three
You had it
years.
for 3 years. Oh, that hurts. Shit.
Oh, it sucks, dude. Trust me.
Oh, man.
Like, and the thing is very clearly, definitely somebody working at the paint shop because I had just painted the whole car championship white again because I
Mm,
put like C West side skirts, a C West front bumper, and a Mugen wing on, right?
shit.
So I did the whole thing, repaired all the scratches, everything was tip top, everything was nice, and then like literally the day after I got it tuned at
Yeah.
JC,
Yeah.
stolen on Monday.
Oh
Yeah, it
shit.
was
Oh,
bad.
oh,
But anyways, that was just sort of the emotions
yeah.
playing up for me. It's just like, oh, if someone gave me a good deal on a Type R right now, I would buy it. But there is no such thing as good deal on Type Rs because I think they're all going up in price right
No,
now.
no.
Yeah.
Even the EG6. I mean, EG6, you can
Oh,
find the real SIR. Those are skyrocketing in prices, man.
for sure. It's
Crazy price, like
ridiculous price already.
90K for an
Yeah.
EG6. What?
Jeremy, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, John, just curious. Like, I'm not trying to uh, get you to relive the
Trauma, the
yeah,
trauma.
the trauma of losing the car. But what was the insurance payout like?
Oh, pathetic. It was really pathetic. And I wanted to save this for an insurance episode, but but
Okay.
uh
Yeah,
I'll just tell
we
you,
can.
like the guys who were insuring my car was it MEE or something like that?
Mm.
MEE,
Okay.
or it wasn't Etika, it was someone else, some other company, and it agreed upon sum for to insure the car was 21,000 because they would not give me
Yeah.
the price of, because my car looks like a Type R, but it was a SI. And
Okay.
I already modified the car to make it like a Type R. I had like a helical SD, a 4785 final drive. I had like 179 wheel horsepower. I had basically a Type R, right?
Yeah.
But they refused to give me the Type R insurance price
Yeah.
because they said car base value on the year of your car is not the
Yeah. Yeah.
same. So when we agreed on 21, when they paid out, they only gave me 18 because they said the highest price car on Muda
Mm.
for your year was 18 grand. I was like, that's not even the same car. It was a four door Integra. It's not even the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like double middle fingers to like MEA after that. I was like, fuck these guys.
But
I'm never gonna work with them again.
that value is the same as a BNR 34 now. Insurance, third party only, and you bought it for 500,000, but it's only insured for 20K from the
You gotta be
insurance.
kidding.
Oh
And
my
actually,
god.
yeah, they will just calculate based on the depreciating value of the car year on year. So a 23-year-old car like my GTO at that time, nobody wanted to insure for like 30K. I was asking for 30K, but the best I could do was 20K and third party only. And that car was that time 23 years old. And I was like,
He's
oh my goodness, if I crash or whatever, I'm paying
yeah.
everything from my own pocket.
That's the thing. I kind of, I'm like, there is a market for cars like this to get insured. Like there are people who are willing to pay the premium,
Yes.
but I don't know how the insurance costs all work, and that's why we wanted to have a totally separate episode on that. I think we should bring you
Yeah.
back for that one because we're looking for an adjuster to come in and speak about it as well.
Right.
So it's one of those things where I feel like I need to understand because likewise my own house insurance, if I want to insure everything in my house,
Yeah.
they won't give me an insurance for it. I cannot get someone to come in and evaluate the value of everything in my home and give me an insurance premium based on that value should anything happen. So, and I feel like, but every other country does that though in
Yeah.
the
I
Western
think
world.
our insurance industry here is still pretty much traditional.
Yeah, Stone Age
We
lah.
it's not. I mean,
Fuck
if you look at
man.
the UK, right? If somebody wants to get a car insurance, you've got like 20 companies in
Lining up.
one page, advertising. Okay, if you want the best policy, contact us, whatever. So they look at your age, your workplace location, your habits, your health, all these factors before coming up with a customized policy for you.
Yep.
But in Malaysia, it's all just car age, year type, brand. That's it.
Yep.
So it's pretty much a very old school way of insuring cars. It's not really a modern age, I would say. It's very archaic. Huh?
I guess it kind of falls on the responsibility of Bank Negara to also make the adjustment, right? Because they're the ones who control what you can and can't insure, right?
Yeah, I think this is the industry as a whole here. I mean, they're supposed to move to a what do they call it? A not decentralized, an open market where they're following the UK. Like every factor
Mm.
comes into play, and then now they were talking about okay, every car needs a telemetric system so that we know how you drive, how hard you drive, and all the stuff. So we can give you a proper quote,
Oh my
something like
god.
that. Like you buy this first, we put that telemetric system into your car. I mean, this is mainly for this telematic system is common in lease cars in companies here. So a lot of the big
Oh.
car companies, like let's say DKSH or even McDonald's vans, right? They would have the system in the car to track where the staff are going, how they're driving, all that stuff. Even for like the tobacco cigarette sales, right? The vans will have that telematic system to track where they're going for sales. So this is common in the corporate side here. So that when the insurance companies wanted to have an open market, so they tried to adopt this package whereby we put a telematics. You take our policy first. After 1 month, we see how you drive, how your habits are, do you speed often or not. Then we'll give a customized policy for you based on your risk, how risky you are.
Hmm.
Yeah. But then it quiet down. So I don't know what happened.
I thought it's still on, right? Greg. I think AXA has it like now. Now, if let's say you have that,
Yeah.
like you say, the telematics. After
Yeah.
a while, you actually get a rebate of what you paid for insurance if you're a very careful driver. You don't go over
Yeah,
speed
but it's
limit.
still like an option. So it's not like a mandatory thing for every
Yeah, yeah,
driver.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right. It's
I
an
just
option.
renew my MPS. I just use like my AG and just that's it. This one come
Mm,
and yeah. So
yeah.
I didn't adopt the telematics thing because I felt like it's a bit intrusive because in the UK they don't even bother about telematics. They just want to know like your age, location, your history, your record. That's it. You don't
Yeah.
have to have like a device to monitor where you go, where you drive, because that is to me invading on privacy.
Yeah.
For company, yes. For work, yes. You don't want your stuff to like go out of the area and they're not supposed to be there, but they're there. When accidents happen, you can't claim because
Mm,
your van is supposed to be in that particular area, but it's out. Why? The staff took it for joyride. So that I understand for corporate that works. For private usage, no, I don't want that to have
yeah. I agree.
tracking me wherever I go.
Okay, so we went a little bit off topic. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
bringing it back here, and I want to open up with this. Okay, so like just bringing it back to this topic. So we already covered appreciating value and the factors that are driven by that, uh, that determine the cost price that you're getting now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Will a Boxster Gen One ever see that
So
kind of
yeah,
appreciation?
so now we are coming into
I mean, like we did a lot of scientific mumbo jumbo. Very, we definitely covered the basis of. I'm pretty sure everybody watching this will understand where we're coming from when we address things like value, how it appreciates, how it depreciates, the emotions involved, of buying something that you always wanted through your whole life and you're willing to pay it because you have the money now. So now it's like 963 Porsches, right? Just case in point. Maybe 10 years ago, pick up one for like 100, 150. Now it's like you can't get one for less than 300 plus plus, right? If I'm not mistaken. And the same is going with 964s. I'm assuming that 917, is it 917 Porsches, the 917 and point 2, those are probably not going to drop in price at all, given that this entire uh, last few generations of Porsches are going up in prices. The
nine
966,
Well, except for the four cylinder Boxster engine,
yeah,
714, is it? Yeah.
the new one, the 718,
No,
right?
just before the new one that went back to a flat six.
Oh, the
So
older one.
the older one, the turbo
Yeah.
flat four, yeah. So
Mm.
that one I think will just drop in value because nobody wants a flat four Porsche Subaru.
so
Yeah, they prefer a
I
flat six.
want one. Cheap.
I don't mind one.
Yeah.
But because the Porsche comes with a stigma where even with the Boxster, Cayman, everything comes with flat six.
Yeah, that's right. Either
Yeah.
any or turbo.
And right now, the moment when the last generation where they say that the Boxster and the Cayman is gonna go four banger, I was like, what the? Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to destroy
That's
what?
why they stop after one batch. That's it. After one production,
Yeah.
they make like a
And
flat six and A.
that's why I think the older Porsches like the are actually stagnant in price. But I'm not sure whether are they going up. The Caymans and the Boxsters.
Oh, I haven't really watched the market. So, like, for
Uh,
me, like, I think Boxster Gen 1 is going for around 40 about there. Those 2.7 liter flat sixes, those ones. The
Uh,
ones that came out the 996 generation, so they had the ugly headlights and everything, right?
One of my friends has a 997, is it? Carrera.
Mm.
Carrera S, if I'm not mistaken. So he got it for 350K in 2018 and sold it last year for 300K. So he only lost a bit, 50K in about 3 years. But yeah, to him it was like a hard sell because COVID happened. His income was affected,
Yeah.
so that was an easy 300K cash for him there, lah.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the issue is that these cars are kind of stagnating, not really depreciating that fast, not
Mm.
really appreciating that fast either. They're stuck in the middle. But like the hypercar level Porsches, like the GT2 RS, that one might be like going up in price
Forever
soon.
going up, I think.
because those are supply and demand. I think it's a lot more people demanded more than what they have in our market here at the
Yeah,
moment.
Mm.
yeah.
Like, every time I saw a GT3 RS from the 997 generation, I think it was. Oh my god. Every
which
time I
comes
hear it, I go, it's worth the money. I don't
Yeah,
care what the price is. Every time I hear the thing even go up to like 8,000 RPM, I'm like, it's worth the money. Just give the money. Just give the guy every single dollar he's asking for.
which comes to mind, like JDM is appreciating in price. What is it? The 205 cars or 202 cars are going up in price. The
Hmm.
Vienna R34 is going up in price,
Yep.
but you don't see things happen like that in the Conti realm. Like you have cars that are in 205, 208 are
yeah,
still not climbing as
Like,
crazy
are you
as
talking
it.
about like E46 M3 kind of thing?
Yeah, E46 is climbing, but it's
yeah,
not climbing as much because the brand
Yeah.
new E46 is about what 600, 700,000,
yeah,
and
yeah.
right now it's about what 250,000. It's still considered a bargain if you're able to buy. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Well, I think like for Conti cars, right? Because they have successors which are improving every generation,
Yeah.
and then the old ones become desired to a certain extent. But JDMs they've stopped producing those kind of cars from that era altogether.
Yeah.
So that creates that rarity and the yearn to have that 90s generation of car.
Mm.
But like for Contis, you see better and better cars at every successive model. So the latest M5 is definitely way better than the
Yeah. The previous one.
305.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
See,
there's a market for that batch to collect, but the market for those who want a better car is even greater for Contis, I guess. That's how I see it. No?
Mm.
They prefer the better, younger, newer BMWs or Porsches and whatnot. So that's why the older cars don't really appreciate that much. Only for some selected models, then you can see the prices go up. But other than that, I don't see it happening much in the Conti side.
I'm gonna say just to answer the question I posed.
Hmm.
Uh, and only because I wouldn't mind getting one myself, and hopefully the people watching this will actually listen and not give it any legend status. But I think a Boxster Gen 1 is not going to go up in price. So one day I'll be able to pick one up for 10K, drop a Scooby motor in there, and be happily on my way. That's a very selfish thing on my part. But the reality is, I just don't think that the Boxster Gen 1
Yeah.
is on anyone's list of happiness. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just,
Is the forgotten child.
yeah, it's like
it is.
Yeah.
it just
I
sort
mean,
of doesn't do it, does it?
I
Hey,
mean, it's
you
like
see, like the R33, BCNR R33 Skyline, it was the forgotten middle child, but now prices are climbing up.
Because it's because the
Yeah,
DNA from 32 to 34 are
yeah,
so similar. It doesn't matter whether you get a 32 or a 34.
yeah.
You're largely getting the same car with the same banger
Correct.
engine, that RB26 DETT,
Yeah,
and it's like it's a monster on wheels. Like
yeah,
everyone's like, oh yeah, 2JZ like stock out of the box 500. Yeah, okay, fine. It takes a little bit more for RB26 to get stock 500, but when it does give you 500, it gives you 500 all four wheels.
yeah,
It goes like the clappers. I mean, like you can't mess with that at all. You know what I mean? Like there are reasons why. There are scientific reasons I can point to that say like, yeah, that thing is crazy good to get. There are no scientific reasons for me to get a Porsche Boxster Gen 1. There's
yeah, yeah.
nothing. There's
Are they gonna swap a two
yeah,
JZ inside the box?
it's kind of like the E36 M3, also one of the forgotten child, but right now
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
also climbing in price.
yeah, yeah.
okay.
Slowly, yeah.
I,
Uh, are there
I
many in Malaysia E36 M3s? I think not that many, right? The boxy,
yeah.
Yeah, the city
not that many, right?
version,
Yeah.
There was a
not that.
few. One of them last time used to go to Zook all the time, and M3, Negeri
Okay.
Sembilan royalty. And then
Oh,
there was
okay.
also my buddy of mine who just recently sold
Mm-hmm.
to my wife's neighbor's house.
Mm,
So now every time I go over to my in-laws' place, it's parked
yeah.
outside there, and it's a
Ah,
converted four-door into an M3. So it had like a
I see.
five-speed, I thought was a US spec 3-liter M3 engine, but it's been stroked to like 3.4. But anyways, like the guy got it for a song. I mean, like people
Mm,
kind of want an M3 to be an M3
yeah.
when they buy it. So people who have done swaps and all that, I think those prices haven't come up yet.
Mm,
But I think it's around there. I mean, it could go up. Like I
yeah.
could tell you that, like having been in an actual E36 M3 and a modded one at that,
Mm,
it is just insane the way it delivers the power. Like the one
yeah.
that I rode in was at the time, which was a long time ago,
Yeah.
over 370 pound-feet of torque.
But does it sound as good as the V8?
It doesn't sound as good as the V8, but it had a complete open exhaust system. So
Okay.
like when my friend was coming over to visit us and all that kind of stuff, you could hear him two streets away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you know it's him climbing up the road and all that. And it was just retarded how fast that thing was. Like the way it gains speed and loses speed and all that. And it was
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that car. I just maybe the shape is a little bit you know?
Yeah.
Old, looks old now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask me, like, I would prefer KT's M3
Yeah, for
over
sure.
the old generations because you got V8,
You're
NA.
lucky, what? You got to drive it, man.
Yeah, so, I mean, a straight six is fine. I've had twin turbo 6 cylinder before, but V8 NA, I think yours KT, you have to keep that. Don't sell it.
Yeah. I think so too, man.
This is a rare one. The last of the V8 NA.
what what I love the most in that era was actually the E46 M3
It's
because
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
the straight six, the straight six, especially that specific straight six,
yeah, yeah.
it comes with a very distinct sound.
Yep.
I mean, we have to really hear it in real
Was it twin turbo that E46 M3?
No.
Was it twin turbo or single turbo?
no no
No, no turbo.
E46 no NA straight
NA.
six.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's why, like,
So
when I watched the video
more,
of Top Gear, and it was Clarkson in on the Isle of Man, and he was testing the M3 CSL E46, I was like, oh
Mm.
my god,
Yeah.
this has got to be the most hardcore E46 M3 BMW will ever dare to make. But I
oh,
mean,
there's one more. There's actually
GTS, man,
the,
E92 GTS was a crazy car. I mean, you're talking about GTR, right? E46 M3 GTR, right?
yes, the
Yeah,
one with the
Oh,
V8, I think the one
yeah,
with
with
the
the
that's what the
V8.
wing and everything, right?
Yeah,
There's like a TM car.
exactly. I mean,
actually they sold for 10 units only, so for
yeah.
homologation
Wow.
I
purposes.
mean,
Yeah.
I didn't
Homologated.
really, I didn't really put it on that list for me. Like the M3 CSL just sort of felt a little bit more, how shall I say it, produced to go fast on the road by people who intend its purpose for just street racing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like light to
Yeah.
light. You want to go on track day, no problem. I mean, there was this really cool story back in the day. Like, so I don't really talk about this very much, but when I bought my DC2 was I
Mm.
was working at a company in Mid Valley, and my new creative director who had joined, we ratchoed him maximum, me and my art director. So my art director bought an S15. I had a white DC2. He had a white S15, and we ratchoed our boss. He bought a white 350Z
Oh shit.
just so he can, you know, be an idiot with us on the highways and all that kind of stuff, right?
Manual
And
auto.
auto lah. But it still sounds great. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, where was I going with this story? Oh shit, man.
Once
uh,
you go
but-
buy the Fair Lady and then
yeah, where was I going with it? It was just sort of one of those things where I remember
manufacturer.
now. I remember now. In his area, he joined a 350Z club, and this 350Z club, they used to go track days all the time. So there was a supercharged one from HKS, and then that guy had a friend who had a 530 with a Eaton supercharger on his BMW 5 Series, and they ran into probably Malaysia's only M3 CSL.
Ooh.
And the guy was so damn confident. He just basically told those guys, "Is like, bring whatever tires you want. I'll keep my car stock. I'll just change the tires, and you guys won't even be able to get 5 seconds within me." And true enough, that day that they all went for the track day, he fucking blasted the doors off them by like 4 or 5 seconds around the track. And it was a stock M3 CSL with orange wheels and sticky rubber. And I was like, that is batshit crazy. That's legend status kind of story. Like at
Wait,
the time when I heard it, lah.
does it have a roll cage? That particular CSL?
I
Do
don't
CSL
know.
come with roll cage?
I don't
I
think so
I
because the
didn't. It was quite a long time ago, bro. It was like 12 years ago
there's
when this
only one
story.
unit, right, in Malaysia, 1 or 2 units.
I
One.
thought there was only one. It was like infamous. It had orange wheels. Anybody in that time who had any track day photos, you'd probably be able to spot that car. Because like that dude was seriously, they ran into him by accident or something like that, and then he just said like he just threw down the gauntlet. It's like no matter what you do, I'm still be quicker than you. And it's like you. And the HKS
Oh,
350Z is like 450, pushing 450 before he cracked the block.
Oh
It's
damn.
like that's not a small amount of power. Just imagine
Yeah,
how much
that's huge. Man. That's a V6.
Yeah, and
and
we're talking like E46 M3 CSL
Yeah,
plus good driver and good tires was better than 450 horsepower cars.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
and one thing I'm gonna let you know how much the CSL was sold for previously, few years back. One of the guys bought it in the currently in the M Owners Club.
Mm.
It sold it for 599,000.
Wow.
My God, that's worth every single penny. I'm sorry,
That's
it's
more
worth every
expensive
single
than the
penny.
PNR 34. Yeah, it's more
Yeah.
expensive than the R 34 right now. And
Yeah,
if that guy is gonna sell again, it's gonna be way more than 599.
yeah.
But I tell you,
700, 700,
the
800 easily.
yeah. But the problem with that car is always going to be the SMG gearbox, right? Let's just be honest.
Yeah,
That, I mean,
yeah. But
SMG2 is just trash. Same, it's the same as SMG1.
Mhm.
this comes from the famous guy who drives the 316 that can never go straight. I'm not
I
sure whether
still don't know this story. What is this 316 story guy?
it's who is it again? The Kong the YS Kong son.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh.
I think it's Ivan Kong's right. Ivan Kong, yeah. Ivan Kong was the one who drives the M3
Hmm.
that put the 316 badge. So it comes with a joke where everyone knows that 316i that can never go straight line is Ivan Kong because he can never drive straight line.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
That's the reference.
I think I
And
saw a
okay.
picture of it once. I think the 316. I think it's a famous photo of that car. I think.
yes, according to him, uh that the car that actually I mean for the SMG gearbox to turn into a manual is just one part away only. So the whole thing is the same, everything is the same. You just have to convert it for about 5,000 ringgit.
Yep. Actually, that was what Mike was saying the other day, right?
Yeah,
On
yeah,
the
yeah,
the
mine was
DNA
yeah,
tuning
yeah.
episode, yeah, he was saying that it's just the linkages that you have to get, because essentially the SMG gearbox is a manual gearbox minus the clutch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you just get the linkage and
yeah.
then you convert it to an M3. But if you're having an M3 CSL without the SMG,
No, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll pay you
it's not
more
a
money
CSL
for it.
anymore, right?
I'll
It's
pay
not
more
a
money for the manual gearbox.
CSL.
You want 10K? No problem.
But
Right.
yeah, the E46 M3 is the letdown was the SMG.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Okay.
All right.
Now, Greg, this one might be a sore spot for you
All
because
right.
of you gotta tread carefully on this, given that you're from the Mazda Drive group.
Okay.
RX-8s.
Okay.
RX-7s has gone up in price
Yeah.
ridiculously. RX-8s are kind of bargain still.
I think there's a stigma of like the maintenance part of an RX-8, and being rotary, right? It's a
Mm,
different sort of maintenance. It's not like a normal piston engine car.
yeah,
So a lot of them, the first-time owners who go into an RX-8 expecting it to be like a piston engine sort of maintenance, suddenly they're given a whole list of things, SOPs to adhere to make the car run well. And after like a couple of years or months even, they get tired of it. And, it's not what I want, man. Like, but it does have an appeal where the higher you rev, the smoother the car goes.
yeah,
That's the rotary style. So, uh, okay, out of 10 owners who just got a car, probably five will just pull out after a few months or like
yeah,
probably in a year, and the other five are dedicated ones who are still willing to not fight maintenance, but go through that unique maintenance of rotary. Then they'll stick on to the car. But even then, so I see people changing after 3 years, 2 years, they can't take it.
yeah.
Only a few are dedicated RX8 guys.
Do you think that because of that, it will never get that sort of status for them?
Like I said, pop culture plays a part as well.
Hmm.
RX7's initial D,
Yeah,
Fast and Furious, and all that stuff. So it has its name in the pop culture part. But RX8, well, probably popular review by Tiff Needell, something like that. and
yeah, but yeah, actually, but
it missed out a bit, yeah, I
yeah,
guess, pop culture. So that's
but
just for the Malaysian market. I think overseas you could probably find RX8s holding some good value. The S2s maybe the 220, the second generation, the S2 ones.
the
Those
A
are
specs is it?
no, the last batch of RX8. They put two batches. The early
Oh,
ones, and
okay.
the later ones. Yeah, later ones has the MPS style wheels, 19-inch, and a few different things. They call it the S2. That one
Hmm.
is more sought after, but I think it's very rare here. You mainly get the first generation RX8s here.
Yeah,
And yeah, like I said, it's mainly the maintenance and those who have had the pinch of rotary maintenance before, they tell their friends they don't get the rotary, hard maintenance, difficult, and that. So
hmm.
that plays a factor. But those who love it, who are willing to go deep into the ownership experience, like my friend Joe, they love it. They won't complain.
I
Yeah, but
guess you gotta be ready for it, lah.
yeah, yeah,
I always liken it to an old school Italian car, right? Like some Ferraris, you cannot go from like like second gear to fourth gear, or you blow up the gearbox. You have to like one, two, three,
Yeah.
four, five, and you also have to go three, five, three, four, two, one kind of thing, right?
But I think for like a person who's hands-on with a car, RX-8 is fine. Like all you have to do is just make sure your engine oil is topped up after every hard
Mm,
run, toge run, whatever. Check your spark plugs often, or your fluids. If you're a hands-on person, I think RX-8s are fine, no issues. But if
mm,
you're a person who just wants to plug and play, just switch on the engine, go drive hard, and just park the car after that and just sleep it off, you can't really own a
yeah.
rotary. You need to be hands-on.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, here,
So yeah. So I was gonna say, I guess it's coming. We kind of talked about it already, but
yeah,
some people are trying to sell 350Zs like they're trying to sell Skylines now, right?
yeah,
Like the prices are coming up, and I'm like, I get it. Like there is a little bit of a lure there, but let's be honest, like a non-popular opinion is 350Zs are trash because they're not a
mm,
Skyline engine. They're nothing like the VQ. Is it VQ38 DETT? They're nothing like that engine.
yeah,
They take a max, like you get to 380 wheel and you're gonna start having problems with the block.
yeah,
And I guess to me, as somebody in the know, right, I would put that up to like, no, I don't think it's ever gonna get legend status. But then I think what we talked about earlier with appreciating value and all that, like seeing those cars in Tokyo Drift and how the bad guy drives a 350Z and he looks so badass in it, I'm like, I gotta change my mind about that. Like maybe
yeah.
they should go up in price because of star power. What do you guys think?
Well,
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I don't think because to me like 350Z is like it kind of felt like it's trying too hard to be a skyline. I mean, no offense, no
Okay.
offense. In a way, right? And it's called skyline in a way, right? Is it?
Only the G35 versions.
yeah, G35
Oh,
one.
Yep.
yeah, 35%.
Those are 2+2 lah, but really you can't sit in the back at all.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, even in the US, the Felady is like a entry level sports car that college kids can buy and
Yeah,
maintain.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I think availability is a very mass produced sports car. So it's very easy to find parts and whatnot, and it's not really limited edition or special in a way because I think the production runs about 10 years for the
Yeah, for
Z
quite some time.
before it went to the 370Z.
Yep.
So probably those factors do make it alluring to like the buyers in the market, and that's why the prices are down. But in a way, it's good for like enthusiasts. If you can't have any sports car at a cheaper price, who's gonna be able to afford to buy a fun car?
Yeah.
So at least we have that Fairly Z there if you want, but our road tax here is crazy expensive.
4,300 ringgit
Four
every
thousand,
year.
yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine the deal was 2K, 2060 per year for 3 liter. 3.5 Fairlady was 4,000. So it's
Yep.
double for
I don't.
500
Yeah,
difference.
I don't understand how that's what is the math the
Yeah,
math
there's a
formula
calculation.
applied to it.
Yeah, there's a formula by JPJ. For every CC increment, there's a value to it.
Jeez,
So
man.
that's why when you have a calculator, you just key in your numbers and put in your CC, and it comes out the magic number like wow. 6.3 liter engine, a private owned vehicle, 17K, something like that.
I think which also comes down to where our road tax plays a part, where all these cars are
Yeah,
appreciating or depreciating in prices.
yeah,
I guess it becomes accessible only to those who really can throw money at a problem for anything, like
yeah. No, I mean, okay, like in the US, the Fairlady is not taxed highly for its displacement, unlike here.
Yeah,
So that's why the college kids are not afraid of buying like a 5,000 USD Fairlady, but to just mod it around, trash it around, drift it. But over here, somebody has to spend like 40, 50K to buy a Fairlady Z, and on top of that, yearly 4K payment for the road
yeah.
tax. It's kind of pricey in a way.
Jeremy,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Well, I think like Greg said it, like because it's not really rare, so
Yeah,
I
Hmm.
don't think the prices are gonna try to match the other cars. Like
But I mean, like, I feel like the people are just trying to ride on this JDM wave, and then suddenly the prices
everybody
of
wants
like,
to, man. Everybody wants to.
yeah,
Even
it's just like,
even the Celica
what?
ST185, the Celica ST185,
Yeah.
from like 40K, 50K, like 5 years ago,
Ah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
100 plus K for like a car from 91. I know it's a ST185, but this doesn't demand that price.
I
I mean,
mean,
I would
if it's signed by
buy
Carlos Sainz, maybe lah.
probably, yeah, you get the color science edition, probably yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone with the JDM was like, ah, I own a JDM. I think I'm gonna ride on the JDM appreciation hype so that I can earn my money on the
If
money
not,
that I
they
lost.
just chuba try this kind of thing, you know. So they just
They
like,
are,
oh
yeah, they are
yeah, it's
trying.
like if I don't try, I don't know. Maybe there's a sucker out there who's willing to pay this kind of money. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like,
I give you guys one example. I was in the market when I saw my GTO for a coupe, looking around. So an ST 202 or 205 was in my mind, the
yep,
Celica. So an actual proper Celica ST 205 GT4 was going for 50k unmodded
yep.
by a few guys were selling, but I think there were only four in Malaysia. So one of it I saw, and I found out that the guy sold it off for 98k
What?
in 2019 to a new buyer. Yeah.
Oh fuck.
So from 2016, sorry, 2016 to 2019 was about 3 years. So 2016 it was 50k unmodded. Stock form in 2019 it was like 70 plus k, 80k. Sorry, 90k. It sold for like 40k above. Yeah.
That's crazy
Bro,
though. I mean,
that's
like,
appreciation
yeah, whoever
capital.
bought that
But,
car's gotta be a big rally fan, to
but
be
it's
honest.
a proper ST205, so I can
Yeah.
understand. Right. I think 405 in Malaysia. But the ST202 converted with a turbo engine also had a small increment within that 4 years, 5 years. So it
Man.
kind of like followed the big brother along a bit, but not as much as the SE205. But like I said, like from 50k to 98k in 2019, it's just nuts.
Yeah, yeah. That's a lot of money to go up in price, man. It's just
Yeah,
like,
All the JDM hype.
yep, yep.
I mean,
I
GDM.
mean, I guess. Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that they made special edition models more accessible to the general public, whereas maybe M cars were not as accessible to the general public before? You know what I mean? Like when you apply a Type R badge to a Honda Civic, it makes the Honda Civic crazy but affordable when it was launched. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't have to get like Ferrari kind of prices for a car that can go 75% like a Ferrari.
But I think like the Type R prices overseas is quite reasonable. It's supposed to be
No,
like an
here's getting
affordable hot
worse.
hatch. Yeah.
Yeah.
But here, because of our taxation, it just doesn't make sense.
Yep.
If you tell any foreigner that you're paying 300k for hot hatch for a manual,
They
for a
don't
Type R,
understand.
yeah, and that's like then that's what like what 80,000 US dollars. They go like, well, I can buy a BMW for that price. Like, why am I buying a
Exactly.
Honda
Yep.
for 80k? It doesn't make sense. But like I said, due to our taxation here, the prices become at that level. Like sports car category, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm. Interesting topic. I'm sure we'll get a lot of like
Hate
yeah, we'll get a lot of Facebook hate for this, I'm sure.
GDM.
But I guess really it boils down to willing buyer, willing seller, right? Like
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think it all boils down to willing buyer, willing
it's
seller.
like
I think
yeah.
even
Can
if
I just say to the people who are considering buying these cars, don't buy them at this price for fuck's sakes. Like
yeah,
you're ruining it for everybody else.
But I also think that there's a bubble that will burst not so soon, but nothing rises forever.
Yeah.
There will always be like a capping point and then a plateau or probably a slight decline. So that might happen maybe 3 4 years when there's another new trend. The younger generation prefers other types of cars or people are all going PHEV turbo, no longer ICE engines altogether or something
Yeah.
like that. So there might be a shift later on. Nothing will be in a rising bubble forever.
which begs the question. Which begs the question. Let's say
Hmm.
after 35 years, right?
Yeah,
You can bring in an R34
yeah,
from Japan, which is a cheaper price,
yeah.
and then after that it defeats all the supply and demand concept that we have in Malaysia.
Yeah.
What say about the price then?
We are disturbed by the US because for them, once they can import in the R34 legally after 25 years of age, the prices there will skyrocket and that
Yeah.
will trickle down to us here.
Yep.
And then, okay, the
Oh,
example is Saudi Arabia. They've banned the imports of R34s, like right-hand drive cars. So, okay, that's the only market where you can find real BNR 34s, GTRs in left-hand drive, fully converted in Dubai, UAE, or Saudi Arabia, that
Man.
side. Yeah, but they've banned the imports of cars there. So uh, is scarce there. Malaysia is scarce. So once it's legal to buy in the US, everything will go to that side. The prices will keep going up. That's
Yep.
what I see. Yeah. So that's another factor which the US that will just catch out the market here again, or just make the
Honestly,
price stay.
I feel like a lot of the Japanese guys are like the cars that are already in Japan, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of those resell like those I guess you call them like secondhand car sellers and all that.
Yeah,
They're holding on to those things, man. They're waiting for the time to be like, hey, the doors are open, and then floodgates of 34 GTRs will sail across the Pacific.
yeah. But I did hear something from my friend whose brother-in-law is in the supercar, sports car, buying import trading business. The Yakuza actually controls some of the car sales in Japan for some of the
Mad.
really rare models. Yeah. So one example was his brother-in-law had a choice of either Hakusoka or NA1 NSXR.
Mm.
He couldn't buy both. The Yakuza said you choose either one, you can't buy both. So he went for the Hakusoka. That one is quite a famous car here in Malaysia. It's an orange color Hakusoka. So
Okay.
that one was from Japan, and that one, the owner traded in his Porsche to get that car. He traded in his
Oh,
Porsche to get a car, and it was sold for 750K. The Hakusoka from Japan.
jeez.
Yes, it's almost a 1 million ringgit. The Hakusoka. But as my friend said, now a lot of these really rare limited edition cars in Japan, they're trying to hold on to it because to them it's a national treasure.
Yeah.
In NSXR, even NA2 NSXR also is very limited supply. So some of the really rare ones, they're not going to let go easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is a shift there.
But I think there's also, I mean, Honda Museum has several that you cannot touch in Motegi.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, I see all the videos about the people visiting the Nismo Museum, and you get to
Yeah,
see, like, the R390 GT1 road
yeah,
car
yeah,
is
yeah.
like two in the
Super,
world for each year. 97, 98 is like,
yeah, Le Mans.
yeah. And then the fact that they actually sold one to a Nismo, like, ultimate fan of Nissan kind of guy, like, he actually has one. It's like, that's mad. It's like,
And that's probably the reason why I think you don't see any Z tunes or real original Z tunes out of Japan. Because those for
yeah,
them, 15 units in Japan, those are like treasures for them. The
I'm
only one
sure.
by Mori Factory. So I don't see any up for sale or gone to the US yet.
The only stock 500 horsepower produced
Yeah,
factory supported Nissans, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, mad.
yeah, I think
But
at
what
the end
would
of
you? Yeah,
the day,
I don't know. Go ahead. Sorry.
if you are like, let's say if you are like 500,000 lying around, would you actually ever think of going for R34?
No,
Nah, I don't
I
think so.
can't. I mean, it's such a like, oh, you have to break my arm, kind of force me to do it. Like okay. Truth be told, at my time, I really felt that my time with my Integra is not over. And if I was gonna spend any of that money, it'd be on maybe getting another DC2 and just spending, a few more years with that car and
Yeah.
having and finishing that story with that car, rather than getting that PlayStation, that Gran Turismo 2 kind
Mm,
of feels. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it's not that I don't like it. It's just I don't think the car is worth 500,000. If someone gave it to me for free, I would take it. Of course, shut me up, slap me in the face.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point, right? Like, five
Yeah.
hundred thousand for me. Like, actually, you know what? This is a good question. What would you get for 500,000? How would you spend it? Like, for me, DC2 Type R, all day. And I want a B18C in there. I don't want somebody going and putting in a fucking K20 Z1CA2 KK blah 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 whatever. I want it stock with like maybe headers exhaust and that's it. Then it's you done. That's me. But
Yeah,
what
with
would you
me,
guys get?
I would get the Audi RS3.
You.
Because I just want all-wheel drive. I want that five-cylinder sound. I want that torque.
Yeah,
I want automatic. I'm done with manuals.
it's such a beautiful sounding car, bro.
Yes, that
I love
five-cylinder.
it.
Yeah.
I love
So
it.
that's my way of spending 500K. It probably costs like what 380K for a
Like if you
facelifted
get that brand new one, yeah. If you but you
2015,
get the
2017 one, yeah, 2017, 2018 around there.
you could get yeah about 300 something I think.
380, yeah, 380.
Yeah. You still have change left over to make it 500.
Exactly. Get some Revo.
Stage
New
2 plus
package
plus
for
plus
yeah.
plus.
Oh, you get the ABT, the what, ABTR or something.
The
Uh,
kit is it?
No, the what, the RS3 comes with the whole kit, yeah.
Oh
I'll just get a stock standard one. Then I get
yeah,
the.
just make it.
I think Kamos did a tune on theirs. I think using the that brand Revo or Rev Sport something. Yeah,
Okay.
tune package. Yeah, let me just check it out.
KT
What about
500K. What are you gonna get?
Yeah.
Or what are you gonna keep?
wow?
What are you gonna keep is the question I would like to ask you. You 500K, you can get something new, or you can keep your car.
I wouldn't. Chances to get something new, it was close to impossible.
Mm.
It's
Recon level, something recon.
either recon or something that's classic enough to keep. But I'm not sure I'll spend on R34. But I never
Yeah,
truly really think of that question. What would I actually get 500k? Because in the 500k realm, there's too many good shit lying around. Too
yeah.
many choices that you can get. Uh,
But I guess like you gotta pick. In a way, it's sort of picking a car you have an itch for, and you need to scratch that itch. So I mean, like for I guess 34 Skylines are not really itchy enough. You know what I mean? But
uh, I would probably get the NSX.
ooh,
Oh, good
nice
choice.
Yes,
choice. Nice
the
choice.
NSX.
Yeah,
Is it the R? I don't think so. But with the manual, that's definitely
they only
with.
come in manuals, bro.
Oh,
Sure.
there's a lot.
The
Oh,
new
oh,
M2,
wait, sorry. Yeah, they are autos. Yeah, sorry.
There are a lot. There are a
anyone
lot.
has anyone NA2, you have the option
Yeah.
of auto manual.
Yeah.
New one, no, NC1. That's my favorite NSX, the latest one. I love how it looks like in the flash. It's amazing.
Oh, this is a
And
Oh,
very.
we're about to have a real big disagreement.
yeah, I mean,
If they,
if you had to give me free either car, I'll take the NC1.
oh,
I mean, the original NSX, I respect it, I like it, it's fine. But to own one, to drive one, I would want the latest, the newest one.
okay.
Because when I saw Chris Harris drive the beans out of it, right, it's just nuts.
I can't. Okay, we had a conversation about this in a different episode, but like my
Yeah.
biggest problem with the car was that it was called NSX.
Yeah, I could
If
probably
they had called it like
HSV1.
yeah, or something like that, something different, then I would have been okay with it. But I felt like it was such a departure from what the original NSX was
Yeah,
that I was almost like, you can't
You
call
know,
this an NSX. This is something else. This is like a baby. This is like a monster version of an i8, but a baby version of a 918.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
in
I
a way,
couldn't
yeah,
wrap my mind around it. I think it's a beautiful looking car. Don't get me wrong.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just don't know whether it's an NSX for me.
Yeah.
Okay, this is personal opinion, lah. Huh? Jeremy, 500k. What are you gonna get?
I
Would you get
think
a
I'll get
34?
a no. I think I'll get a Porsche with that money. Like, can we choose like Conti cars like
Go
Yeah.
ahead, choose whatever you want, man.
997.2, and then there will still be like scratching.
Whoa, bro, 500k for 997.2. I think you're reaching lah. 500k, bro, not 500 million, no.
No, no, no. The one,
997.2, you can get so cheap, man, for 100k.
yeah, the
Yeah, 997.2 is about 500k.
yeah,
Turbo.
yeah,
For
that's what the
911 turbo,
yeah.
911 turbo, yeah.
what rock have I been living under? 500. I should have picked that. I should have picked that. I can live
No,
without a
that's
without a timer.
Because I think it's the stigma behind that where when buying a car, and because of this episode, especially with the appreciating
Yeah.
value and stuff like that, and that's one of the best reason to get the, I mean, 997. I'm not sure what 997.2. Yeah, 997.2 is already stagnant in price, probably going up slowly bit by bit.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, and the NSX I choose because it'll be inching forward some more 700. They're going one day it's gonna reach 600,000 ridiculously.
I'm sure
Maybe somebody would just go up hype up. There's oh, Arten Senna is dead, so then comes out the second Arten Senna movie, and NSX.
what?
Yeah, okay. That's the thing about NSX, it didn't hype up as fast compared to others, but it had a legend
Yeah.
driver develop it,
It had a legend, yes.
and it's well known among the F1 enthusiasts and in Europe, whatever. But like I said, like, pop culture, it just wasn't there.
It was
I
Actually,
didn't appreciate as fast as the Super and Skyline.
you know what Honda should have done? They should have done a commercial, right? And it starts with showing you the Honda NSX, the new Honda NSX R 2005, right? The one that like everybody's like, whoa!
Mhm.
In every best motoring video, it's faster than Lamborghini. It's like what? So it's like they should have made that commercial with cuts of how fast that car is stock versus stock other cars, and then they should throw in there the client list that they had. All right, Rowan Atkinson had one. This is Mr. Bean.
Yeah,
Gordon Murray had one.
yeah,
Jay Leno had one.
yeah, yeah,
Jerry Seinfeld had one.
yeah, yeah.
The list of people who understand cars that bought a Acura NSX or a Honda NSX,
Mhm.
it is literally the list of who's who in Hollywood that love cars.
Yep.
I think the only person that's not on that list is Tom Cruise.
Yeah, but it misses out on the tuner culture. That's why.
It does. It
Yeah.
was generally not very good a
It
tuning
was it,
platform
it was
lah.
meant it was meant for like those who could afford sports cars within the
Yeah,
40K range back then USD. So like more mature people own the car and they don't really think around with the NSX that
yeah.
much. So it didn't have that tuner culture of like slapping a big turbo, whatever, all those things, right?
Well, I think also that engine didn't really like that kind of stuff lah.
Yeah, it
From
was actually
everything ever,
engineered
yeah,
very well to be balanced all around. So if you
yeah,
mess up too much power output, suddenly you lose the handling.
yep,
Too much handling, then it's underpowered, that sort of
yep,
thing, balancing act. But I do see some NSX in the US, the Acura ones, with like the rear rear turbo setup, making like 580 on wheel. This is mental, man. But these
man.
are the ones highly tuned. I think back in 2005, 2006. So it was a slight hype, but then it just stayed on that way. Never
Yeah,
really went full on like hype, like Super and Skyline.
but I gotta
Yeah.
say, like every time you see a heavily modded NSX,
Yeah,
a piece of me dies on the inside. You know what I mean? I
Yes.
I hate to say it, like for me the NSX was like
yeah,
it's like how Italians view Ferraris.
yeah.
Like
In a way, yep, yep,
it's so hard for me to let go of this. It's like I look at it and go like, it looks great. It's such a beautiful car. It was
yeah.
just so I just can't explain why I have this. I think I told this story before, but I was in the public library of my school
Mhm.
in Montreal in Canada, and they were selling magazines for 25 cents a quarter, right?
Yeah.
So there was a Superbike magazine, and it had an NSX on the front cover of the
Mhm.
Superbike magazine,
Okay.
and it was to commemorate the launch of Honda's first ever supercar.
Yeah.
So the entire back 3 pages was all about the launch of the NSX, and I was like, "This is a Superbike magazine, and they're talking about a car," and I was like,
It was so,
"It was so
yeah.
special. It
Yeah, yeah.
was so
But
special, but so rare at the same time."
Like now with the social media culture, right? The only ones I see getting attention from like Super Street, whatever, are heavily modded NSXs. I follow one guy who's in the US. Who's got an NSX with the Macross airplane colors, Robotech.
Oh,
So he's got that on his NSX, and he's on
okay.
it modified. It's pretty cool, but you have to go wild with an NSX for people to actually look at you in the US. Stock NSXs are just like, oh, okay, nothing much. No,
I don't
not bothered
know.
with it. This is weird. But Stock Supra on Instagram suddenly get like thousands of likes. Stock NSX 500. So I'm like, okay, the world is a bit weird right
Yeah,
now.
something's wrong, huh?
With
Something's
the
gone whack,
pop
huh?
culture is a
turbo and
weird thing.
Robotech colors, oh, suddenly 1,000 likes. Same like a Stock Supra picture. I'm like, what? What's going on, man? It's just weird.
I don't know. NSX is a good choice, but I just want to highlight that I am the real budget queen out here. I really wanted an Integra, but everyone else went like straight ham with like 400,
I think
$500
you get
cars.
a 500K.
I picked a 1.8 liter. So, cool.
I
So,
mean, the accessibility of the 500K. Oh, why not?
yeah,
Go
why
all
spend
the
it,
way.
right? Yeah. I guess maybe I'm too emotional. I guess I'm that guy who's like sitting around waiting for that Honda to come out, and I got the extra money, and I'm just like, here, take my money. I'll take it at
I
whatever
think
price
I
you want.
think
Oh, I got
I
a friend who's got a four-door Integra Type 1 in Kuching. The DB8, right?
DB8A, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, something like
So
that.
he's got a GTO in Kuching. He's got a DB8 in Kuching, RX-7 FC3S coming soon, and a Supra in Hong Kong. Yes,
Wow,
guys. He's on Instagram, Supra GTO. You can check out his
think
work.
cool.
I John, I'm gonna give you this suggestion.
Ah,
Mm.
I'm not sure whether if you have the money, if you're gonna
okay.
go back to the DC 5R.
I thought actually I've driven one. It's not bad. But I can tell you that like when I drove it and then drove my DC2 home, I like
Doesn't feel the way,
even though
right?
I don't really fit inside the DC2 very well, it was way lower. You feel everything, like every little bump on the road, the pebble could have been this big, and oh, my back. You know what I mean? Like it's a totally different experience, right? It's just like a front wheel drive go kart.
Yeah,
You
Yeah,
I
know what I
mean
it's,
mean?
yep, it's
that's
fully
that, that
automatic.
that's the last sensible choice that you're gonna get because
Well,
DC or I think it's gonna be 120 or
I
more.
think you already know my personal situation, so my life
Yeah.
is already locked down to the club sport, and that's all she wrote. I will
You
not be
still have
able.
the opportunity, a few more years to 35 years.
No, I'm done. I think like for the foreseeable future, like I'll be stuck with just that car, unless like yeah. I tell you what, the only time I'll probably be able to look at other stuff and all that is if this podcast gets 1 million views and 10,000 likes, and everybody shares it. I'm just hinting, just a suggestion. People who are watching this, if you want all of us to become rich and famous,
Yeah. Don't make
like and
videos.
share, subscribe.
Don't make videos or model for your
Yeah.
enjoyment.
Oh, Greg, I want to give you some time to talk about
Yeah.
Mazda Drive Group so that we can end up the show. So I
Okay.
get the floor is yours, man. Like share about your MDG.
Okay, well, Mazda Drive Group was actually a gathering of different Mazda car clubs. So mine was from the MPS, Mazda 3. I contacted the Miata Movement guys and also the Mazda 3, MZ3 Nation, the Mazda 3 BM club guys. So we had like a combined drive to have different Mazda models because nobody has this combined group where you have different Mazda clubs together. So the main aim was to get more hype for Mazda cars among different models. So we started off with the Mazda 3, MPS, and also the Miata. Then it trickled down to CX3, Mazda 6, even BT50, but that's pretty quiet for the moment. Then we had the best inclusion we had was the Killer Bees. So you have the Ford Mazda gang with the Lantis, MX6, MX3, all the old school cars. So then it had a momentum where we were like telling people, hey, look, just come for our drives. We'll gather a mixed group of Mazda models as best as we can to keep it interesting. So I think that resonated pretty well with all the owners because they, oh, I've never seen this car before. I've never seen an MX3. I've never seen an MX6. So it became like a very fun experience to have a mixed group. So that's why we decided to call it the Mazda Drive Group, a mixture. So we did a lot of events, drives back in 2019. We did the big meet and greet year end, but due to the pandemic, we're switching more towards content. We're trying to do
Yeah.
more cars and coffees, meet and greets, but having MCU and all the stuff, right, it's very hard to organize things.
Yeah.
So we're doing the channel now, content. So we're covering like car ownership reviews, car modification, or like the scene, all that stuff. So we're trying to have a mixture of different content for the YouTube channel. So what started out as a drive group for toge drives, car meets, and whatnot has now turned into like a partial YouTube channel and having a mix of contents. So once this is over, we plan to do more meets and drives. Actually, we had a plan to go across Selangor, but that has all been quashed already. The EMC
Yeah. Barbed wire
happened, yeah.
everywhere.
So we're pretty much stuck where we are. So we can only do like content for YouTube. So once this is over, we'll start to do more merch and more meets and greets and gatherings. And we want to do more drives. Basically, that's the core of the group drives. We would like to see like an old MX3 with an MPS, with an RX-7, go drive up to KKB or Luyam. That'd be damn nice.
Mm, yeah.
Do like a Skinchan drive, all that stuff. Yeah. So,
Oh, hello.
the cat disappeared. That's a favorite spot. This is right. So yeah, Mazda Drive Group is open to all. There's no discrimination or any prerequisite Mazda to have to join. You can just, even like potential owners who are interested, can just join the page or the group. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and yeah, we just want to see like a whole community promoting Mazda. And I think we are the first ones actually doing this sort of like collective for different Mazda groups. I don't think anybody has done it. You can
Yeah.
see for Honda you have, for Mitsubishi you do have, for
Got me?
BMW.
Oh,
I mean, like a collective of
yeah,
different
maybe.
Honda clubs or whatever, like different models. But for Mazda, there was nobody doing it.
Mm,
So yeah, I think we were the pioneer of it, and hopefully this momentum doesn't die down with all these things happening. So that's why we have the YouTube channel that keeps people interested, and we do get a lot of inquiries from overseas. Mazda owners in Russia are damn active. Mazda owners
okay.
in Peru, South America are very, active, also checking out channels and communicating with us on Instagram. Indonesia, Thailand, even Myanmar. You got Mazda owners in Myanmar, like
That's
asking to join the group
crazy.
and trying, wanting to buy stickers and whatnot. So yeah, it's got a very nice momentum going to it at the moment. So we hope to keep it going. And yeah, once this is all over, we'll have more drives, and we'll definitely invite you guys to come over.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we'll put your guys' social tags and all that
yeah, yeah.
into
Yeah.
this video, so don't worry
Maybe
about
this
that. It'll be
will
there.
work.
So everybody else knows how to find Greg and the
Yep.
Mazda Drive group.
Correct. And
Um,
then we're open to other car brands as well. Whenever we have drives, whatever, right? If you have a Ford, BMW, whatever, you can just come and join. No
yeah,
worries. It doesn't have to be a Mazda.
yeah.
Although we are a Mazda group, yeah, we're open to all.
So, Katie, Jeremy, do you guys have anything to add on before we close the show?
Yeah, we're fine. I think we're good.
Yeah, I think I'm good. Yeah.
All right. So we are out of here.